Hi, I'm Haley, and today I'm making two Christmas tree stands for my artificial Christmas trees. They're very simple, very kind of run-of-the-mill trees, and these stands are going to elevate them both literally by lifting them and, in my opinion, aesthetically by giving them a little bit more presence, structure, and just a greater overall impact. So let me take you through it. So let's start with the trees. This is our main Christmas tree. I ordered it last year. It's a 7.5 foot alpine fir slim from King of Christmas. I really like it because the branches stick out and they look pretty real right here. There are some filler branches on the inside, but at $250 for this tree, I feel like it looks really nice. It does come unlit, but I actually prefer that because I like to string my own lights. I get the LED mini lights that change from warm white to color to alternating to all sorts of settings. So I like to have control over that. You can see this is just kind of a petite tree. It isn't super big. It's not tiny, but it isn't anything too out of the ordinary. So I think by making a tree stand, we'll definitely give it a greater presence. Now, in years past, my family and I, the day after Thanksgiving, we used to head up to the mountains. We'd make a whole day of it and go cut a real tree. It was so fun. Just, we'd have the best time. And the trees were great too. They were bigger, they were harder to keep up in their stands and keep watered. And honestly, they were harder for me to decorate just because they were sparser. They had kind of the big gaps between the branches. Um, Still really pretty, but it was just a little trickier. Artificial trees are very handy. You don't have to wait for anybody to help you. I can just pop this out, stick it up, and it stays. It's fine. So once my son got into high school sports and had practices and everything, it just became harder to schedule in the outing because the mountains are a few hours drive away. It was an all day thing. It was exhausting in the best kind of way, but it just became harder to do. So we, for now, have put a pause on that. We'll probably get back to it at some point, but I really like this tree. I've really recently especially been drawn to these smaller trees, 7.5 feet, 6 feet even, as long as you can find a way to kind of bump them up and add some wow factor, like making a tree stand or a collar, putting them on a table, whatever it is. I think that these are just such a great way to go. I love a big tree, but there's just something about a small tree. The best way I can describe it is like those pretty little hors d'oeuvres that you see that are just so bite-sized and beautiful and just appetizing. So for me, that's how these small trees are. It's almost like the ornaments go a little bit further. The tree doesn't absorb them as much when it's a little smaller. And it just, I don't know, it's more bite-sized for your eye. The second tree I'm making a stand for is this slim pencil tree that sits just inside my front door in the entryway. I actually used the container I'm going to use to make the tree stands last year for this tree. I just stuck it inside. It was a little wobbly, so I'm definitely looking forward to making it more stable this year. I don't remember any specifications on what kind of tree this is, just kind of your typical pencil tree. So my plan is to use these milk cans that actually came from my late grandparents' walnut farm. It's really windy. Oh, don't fall. So these milk cans came from my late grandparents' walnut farm. So I'm going to use this one for my main Christmas tree, the 7.5 foot, and then this smaller one for the pencil tree right inside the doorway. If you watch my fall front porch video, these will look familiar. I actually used these as part of the arrangement around the door, and they worked really well. So I am going to have to dismantle that a little bit, and I'll just shift things. I'm going to leave this set up until probably the day after Thanksgiving, and then I'll do some Christmas stuff out here. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to actually use this fast setting concrete mix, and I'm going to pour it down inside the milk can, each one of them, and then I'm going to set a piece of PVC pipe inside that, let it dry, and then I can just put my tree down into the pipe. That way it'll be nice and steady and secure. Okay, and just a quick word on my fall front porch. If you watched that video, you know that I made a last minute decision to add LED lights, and it worked out so well. It made a really pretty nighttime display, but it also, once we carved our pumpkins, and you can see I just put them right back where I had them, it also was handy because I was able to just take the lights, I removed them now, I could just take the lights and stick them inside of our jack-o'-lanterns, and it lit them up so well, so much better than using a candle or even a battery-powered candle. And it was on a timer, so I had jack-o'-lanterns on a timer. It was just so handy. So I will definitely be doing that again next year. So we're just enjoying the last little bits of this kind of setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start kind of fiddling with the cans, the pipe, kind of setting it inside, seeing where I need to cut it, and then I'll saw it, start pouring the concrete mix, adding some water, and kind of go from there. This is just my first time doing a project like this. It seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you never know. So let's give it a shot. All right, I got the tree stands made. It was a little tricky just trying to make sure they stayed level, but I think it worked out really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little before, and then I'll show some clips of both trees with the completed tree stands. So you can see that the tree stand really helps lift the tree, taking it from a 7.5 foot tree to 9-10 foot tree. It really gives it a big impact and it really makes a nice structured look. Down here, this area is nice and clear now. So if you want, you can even set some flowers, poinsettias, different decorations or gifts. It makes it really easy to see them. And I just really like the look. So I think it worked out really well. It was a pretty fast, easy project and something I think anyone can do. You can use any sort of container, pots that you would use like outside for flowers. I don't know, anything. You could use a table and kind of disguise that and lift your tree. I don't know, there's all sorts of things. I've seen people build crates. For me, these milk cans were really pretty, and as soon as I saw them, they just looked like Christmas to me. I like the color, I like how distressed they are, and so for me, it was perfect. I do plan to do a few videos showing how I decorate this tree and probably the pencil tree downstairs also, so stay tuned for those. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.